Hello to all. This is Alejandro Brati from Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business, and welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Singo TV channel 250 and 251. Please remember to download both the Singo TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free and is available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Roku, and all smart TVs. Today for me is I am very happy that I have Kayla with me and with us. We are going to have a very interesting call. She's an expert in the emotion call. That is a process that I have been reading a lot about lately, and I am also starting to apply, and I also apply it to myself. And I did a session with Kayla too, so I am really happy to have you here with me, Kayla. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Alejandro. It's really great to be here.
Awesome. So I always start with what you are doing now. I started to give some introduction. Tell us a little bit more about what you are doing, and then we're going to go back in your life to start to see how the belief system that you have was created to do exactly what you are doing now.
Cool. So I guess what we're mostly talking about is my work with the emotion code. So I just became certified in the emotion code early in this year, in January actually, but I've been using it over 10 years just from reading the book and finding the resources online. So what I do with that is I help people release their emotional baggage from their past. A lot of it is from the early childhood days that we don't necessarily remember in the conscious mind, but our subconscious keeps track of it. So we take a look at that and we release it pretty quickly and easily. It's much quicker than traditional talk therapy, and things happen really fast with energy. So that's why I'm really excited about it and why it's so much fun and people can get really amazing results in a short time. So that's what I've been most focused on this year.
Awesome. Are you doing something else, or it's only this, or what are you doing? Just to
Oh,
understand.
I'm doing lots of things.
Oh, tell us a
So
little
many
bit.
things. Yeah, so I also am a mental fitness coach where I lead groups into learning about mental fitness, like how to really learn how to work with the ego and finding ways to strengthen the sage voice in your mind and quiet down the voices that tell us what we cannot do and strengthen the ones that tell us what we can. So that's another passion. I do that in groups usually. I also am an artist. I make energy art and sell that online. And yeah, I do life coaching, just traditional life coaching. So I try to just
Awesome.
do a little bit of everything that makes me happy.
Awesome. What is energy art? Just to understand a little bit.
Yeah, for me, energy art is like art that when you see it, you feel something in your energy body. Maybe you feel something in your heart, or you feel this like sensation in your third eye when you view that art. It's art that's like meant to help you heal, help your to feel a different energy. Just like, when you listen to certain songs, it evokes certain emotions and feelings. I like to create
Mm.
art that does that.
Oh, that is awesome. And we are having a little delay with the video. At least I am seeing that delay. Uh, but at least I am hearing you very well. Uh, Quick question. Let's start with a little bit of your story. Where are you coming from? Like from your life, why you decided to do this? Like a couple of times that you started to like create some of some of this to start to understand who you were before all of this started to happen. What was happening at that moment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it goes back a long time, like more than 10 years ago. Um, I was in a pretty dark place, I would say. I was struggling a lot with depression and just being really lost in the world. And I was going to therapy and I had to get a new therapist. I don't remember why. But at that point, I was lucky enough to meet someone who was doing this alternative therapy. And that's when I first became open to this world of energy. And at the time, I was a very science-minded person. I was really into, like, learning about the quantum physics of how it all works. I didn't wanna believe that it could be something more than that, and I stayed in that place for a good 7 or 8 years. It's only in the last 2 or 3 years that I became more open to the spiritual aspects of healing, and I feel like that actually even expands the possibilities even larger. But I think it's really important to note that when I started it, I had no belief in spirituality, but it was still wildly effective to the point where I could not deny it was real. And I began to get into the science of energy medicine and why it's so powerful.
And tell us a little bit more about that part of depression, how was affecting you, who you were, just to understand. And even I know that sometimes people in the audience maybe struggling, they're
Yeah.
struggling with something like that. So tell us a little bit of what were your thinking, how you realized that you were depressed, because sometimes people is with depression and they are not really feeling that. So how was that? How was that process to get the awareness that you have that and start to look for help?
Yeah, actually, my case might be a bit unique in that sense that I was only about 10 years old when I was diagnosed with depression. I already had a chronic illness, so I was going to a lot of doctors already, and I was sleeping all the time. I had narcolepsy. So at that time, I was sleeping like 17 hours a day. So they were trying to figure out what was causing this. So
Wow.
you know, uh, I went to all kinds of doctors to try to figure it out, and at the time, they didn't really see narcolepsy as something a child could have. They thought that was like an adult disease that only comes on in your 30s. So they were exploring all options, and I think I became depressed due to that disorder, to being so lost as to what was going on with my body, why wasn't I like other kids, why couldn't I keep up with them? And it really took a big toll on my social life, my ability to make friends. And, I couldn't go to sleepovers or anything because I was just too tired as a kid. So then this just continued into my teens, which is when a lot of people experience a lot of overwhelming emotions. Um, and I just didn't know how to deal with any of them. I had no tools to deal with any type of emotion. And then, so yeah, it was in my 20s. I was still like just really struggling. I had some suicide attempts in my earlier teens, but the most profound one that I ended up actually having to sign myself into a hospital for longer term help when I was 18. Um, and that's when I like started to really take mental health seriously. I spent, I think, about a month in a recovery center and um, started to realize, okay, it's really about making the choice. Do you want to be here or not? And I didn't, I wasn't ready to make that choice, perhaps at the time.
Mm. And how was that process of awakening? Like, okay, I am doing this to myself. I have to start to change. I want to do a change. How was that awakening and started to look for things to help? Because you're telling me at 18, but you started with at 10 the depression. So it's 8 years of maybe going through a lot of struggles when you started to say like, okay, this is enough, I need to look for another type of help or of what happened.
Yeah, that's a great question. I definitely spent a long time feeling like a victim, like there was nothing I could do about it. This was just the
Mm,
circumstance that I was born into. I felt like I just maybe wasn't supposed to be here. It was an accident.
mm,
um, But yeah, at some point there was that decision to take responsibility. And honestly, for me, I don't think it came until after I experienced this energy healing with the emotion code because so much of what I was able to release through the emotion code healing wasn't mine. It was emotions that my mother experienced while she was pregnant with me. And then once the weight of a lot of that was off of my chest, I could start to actually take responsibility for my emotions. Um,
mm,
and it was much easier to face my day-to-day emotions once the old stuff was kind of out of my system. Once I had released so much of my past, the new stuff that was coming in, it was like, "Oh, actually, I think I am responsible for this. I think I can do something about it." And I learned actually tapping next was my next, intro to emotional therapy. I don't know if you're familiar with EFT tapping, where you, like, tap on meridian points on the face and the collarbone points, and you can release a lot through that as well. So that was my next, like, kind of taking responsibility for myself. Um, yeah, the choice to actually be alive, I think, didn't come for another couple of years after that. It was quite late. It was about 6 years after my suicide attempt, that I decided to live, and I moved abroad and created a totally new life. I created something that I had never thought could exist for myself. So
Wow. So you are saying maybe like 24 years old, some more or less, you started to find this emotion code. Tell us a little bit just to start to understand, and the people, I know that that is the topic that we're going to be talking today, mostly, specifically with your story, connected with your story. Why do you feel how emotions can be trapped? And you are talking also how they can be trapped before you were born and how they are translated to you. Just for people to understand, like, okay, this is real, and that's why you were like living, maybe even without understanding what was happening to your life.
yeah. So the reason why trapped emotions are passed down from one generation to the next is actually very scientific. Like, if you think of the evolution of a species, if a mother finds out that a wolf is dangerous, she wants to pass down that emotion of fear for that wolf to her offspring, right? So that they don't have to have a similar experience with that danger in order to feel that emotion of fear. So that's a genetic predisposition that we have. It's passed down from our parents. Unfortunately, they can also pass down a lot of emotions that aren't useful, that we don't need to experience. But it's to protect us.
Mm.
So that's why I believe in the way that they are passed down through our DNA. And of course, there are studies that can show that as well. And sorry, what was the first part of your question? I think I answered it backwards.
Yes, start to understand, okay, how an emotion can be a trap in your body. At the
Yes.
end, we are talking a little bit about that, but not everyone knows about this. So start to understand, okay, I have emotions, but emotions are good or bad? That's a question that a lot of people does. Like, oh, when I am at work, I have to be emotionless so I can do better. But that is not really true. But when you start to find things like this, like, okay, suddenly if I have emotion, they can get a trap in my body, and I'm going to start to experience some type of problems like mental issues or even other type of sickness or illnesses.
Yeah, so from my understanding, most of the emotions when we experience them, they are created by the organs in our body. And then when we experience them, they just like move through our body and then we move past them as long as we didn't do something that pressed them back in or to like reject them, to judge them, or even like many of us are aware, we consciously press down our emotions, like you said, to be socially appropriate at work or maybe even around our kids. We don't want to express certain emotions, so we just kind of swallow them down and say, okay, I'll deal with that later. But that dealing with it later never comes, right? So it might be
Mm,
months or years later that that is trapped in there. So sometimes it's that conscious choice, and other times it's really when you're just facing way too much at one time. So that happens a lot to us as kids, as teenagers, and then as adults when specifically we are overwhelmed, we're going through something really traumatic. A lot of times things like separation, divorce, losing someone really important to us. When we lose our own parents, we tend to trap a lot of emotions. And it's just these times when our body is so overwhelmed with processing that there's just stuff that slips through the cracks. It gets pushed down because it just wasn't time to deal with it. And this emotion code just gives us an amazing resource to just be able to identify those emotions and just shine a little bit of light on them and then just choose to say, okay, I don't need this anymore. It's not serving me anymore. So it's just a really awesome resource just to release them quickly and efficiently.
so and for people, I know that to continue and finish like the explanation from Kayla, for me, emotion is energy in motion.
Mm,
And and at the end that makes everything simple. Like, okay, it's the energy in motion bad or good? Well, it's energy in motion, it's okay. Every emotion is okay. The problem is when we start to swallow the things because we don't want everybody to see, and we think that we're going to deal with that later, or we have to be strong because of our kids or because of any other people, and those things start to create the emotion trap in different parts of our bodies that maybe sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know, uh, but that can create a lot of problems, especially illnesses and sickness in our bodies, and that's why at the end it's really important to pay attention to that. So after understanding that, talking about, okay, let's start with our own emotions, because I know that it's another topic to talk about from generations, and it's another one to talk about something that happened in previous lives or other type of things. So when we are talking about emotions that are trapped, our own emotions, uh, when what happens if, okay, I understand that Kayla and Alejandro are saying right now, I am going to focus on improving that. How do you know that you have something from the past even when you feel that you are okay?
Yeah, that's a great question. So usually these show up in our lives as something in our body that doesn't want to heal. So maybe you had an accident, 10 years ago, and there's just that little bit of pain still left over. That's a good sign there might be some energy trapped there that's just preventing your body from finishing its natural healing process. It can also manifest as blocks in taking steps forward or like moving forward in life. So when you notice you're repeating cycles of like the same patterns, like getting into the same type of relationship, having the same problems at multiple jobs, um, just seeing like cyclical processes going on in your 3D physical life, it can be an indication there's something going on the energy level that needs to just release to let that energy just pass by and you can get on to the next stage. So we kind of keep, it feels like repeating the level of a game almost until we release the energy and we can go to the next level and see something new. So it can be very specific in relationships or often with people's ability to manifest money or abundance or to, have financial freedom, all kinds of different areas of life. But the one that seems to be the most, like, miraculous, you feel the most, like, instant relief is if you have some kind of a pain that's just been in your body for so many years, and sometimes in one session of the emotion code, it suddenly disappears, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, how is this possible?" So, I had that experience once from a shoulder injury I'd had in high school, and I don't know why, it just occurred to me just 3 or 4 years ago just to see if I could release the pain because it would show up every time I wore a backpack, and I was a backpacker for 6
Mm,
years. So it was like constant all the time, just burning in that shoulder. And yeah, when I released 3 or 4 trapped emotions, it went away and never came back. So it was really strange. That it took me so long to even use the tool that I had as well. Sometimes it's
mm.
like we just carry those things with us until we're ready to learn the lesson.
No, and that's very interesting, because another thing that happens a lot is, for example, something that I had is stomach bloating for a long time. Uh, and when you have something like that for so many years, suddenly you feel that that is normal. And it's okay to have that bloating each time that you have lunch, for example. Maybe it's not in the breakfast or in the dinner, but at lunch, I always have bloating, and it's like, okay, that's how my body reacts always to food, and that's fine because I have to continue eating, and I think that that is normal. But the reality is that it's not normal, and but because I have been having that problem for so many years, suddenly I feel that that's my way of living. Or I had a friend that was telling me, "Oh, I can eat whatever I want, but he needs to take a pill after he eats every time to help him avoid bloating and other type of things." So saying that he was okay, but he needs a pill every time that he's eating something, is not really being okay. So I am saying this type of examples because sometimes we feel like, no, everything is perfect, everything is fine, I don't feel any pain. But if you start to pay attention, you are going to start to notice that there are some pains that you have had for so long that suddenly you feel that is normal, that is you.
Absolutely. I heard a teacher once ask, "What are you tolerating in your life?" And that really made me realize, like, there's so many things that I just think, "Oh, it's not a big deal." Like, "Oh, maybe my fingernails break easily. Who cares?" You know, like, that seems so simple. But what if I could just stop that from happening? It's really painful when it happens, right? Or, people who have maybe some mild indigestion, it doesn't cause you to go to the hospital or cause you to go to the doctor. But what if just one session of the emotion code would change it for you, or two or three? What would that change in your life? How different would your life be if you didn't experience that? It's like we're tolerating so much discomfort because our society has shown us like that it's normal to be sick and that you're lucky you're not sicker. That's kind of the message that we get when we complain about
Mm,
these small things, right?
mm, exactly. And even the back pain, that's another one that is like so normal. Like, okay, everybody has a back pain. Yeah, I have to go every 2 weeks to a massage because of that. And the reality is that something is wrong, not really that you need a massage every week or every 2 weeks to improve. Of course, that is really nice to do, but that doesn't mean that it's okay to have that back pain all the time.
Absolutely. And the emotion code is actually created by a chiropractor. So I believe he claims he has cured every patient who has come in because the back pain is always caused by some kind of misalignment due to an energy imbalance. So he has created many processes to release imbalances in the spine and in the energy that causes uh, the bones in the spine and in the head to become misaligned. So he says all of it starts with energy, and he's like a trained chiropractor. That's his trade. So that's not my specialty, but I find it fascinating because people like back, yeah, like you said, back pain probably is what, like at least 50% of the population has it at some point in their life, if not for many, many years. So, and many of us don't know where it came from or why it's there. And we're like, oh, it must just be stress, or maybe I did too many sit ups, or, we make some excuse that makes no sense instead of looking at the real cause.
Or the headaches, that's another one. You have
Mm,
a lot of headaches, and it's normal for you that you have headache every afternoon or every week you have a big migraine and thinking that that is normal, and that is not normal, really. And a lot of times can be an emotion that is trapped uh, because of yourself or something that happened in the past or something before. So, Kayla, I want to give the experience to people that is here now to understand how this works. So let's start to explain a little bit how you can. Okay, now I understand. Yes, I have a pain in my throat. I know that we have been working. We work on that a few days ago with me. So let's continue working with that. I have a pain in my throat that improve a lot, but maybe we can improve a little bit more. Uh, what do you do? How we can work with that?
yeah. So we usually start out just by getting to know each other a little bit, since you and I have done that. We don't have to repeat it, but then we kind of rate the intensity of that pain on a scale of 0 to 10. So if you had to rate it today, where are you at?
Today it's like a five, maybe.
It's like a five. Okay. So then we would use that as our intention. Then we start to ask your subconscious mind if there are any trapped emotions that are related to that pain. Do you want to start doing that?
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah. So actually, before we do that, sorry, we have to do just a moment to connect to each other so that the energy can flow, so that I can read your energy a bit. I don't know how this is going to work with my video lagging so much, but we try. Um,
You
you and I.
just tell me what you are looking at because the video lagging, I can see really what you are doing, but I can hear exactly what you are saying.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, let's just spend like just a few seconds just connecting. So we just connect from the heart, grounding ourselves a little bit. And I just check in with a pendulum. I use a pendulum to get the yes or no answers from the subconscious. So whenever you're ready, Alejandro, you can just say yes.
Yes.
Perfect. And then you can say no.
No.
Great. So right now it goes in a circle for yes and in back and forth for a no. Sorry, you can't see it so well. But so then we just ask this question, are there any trapped emotions related to your intention of your throat feeling better, right? Is the intention. So we get a yes answer. Then I generally just want to check how many we're dealing with so we can kind of get a gauge for what there is to release. So we just ask, are there more than one trapped emotion? Is there more than five? Is there more than 10? Are there more than 20? Are there more than 15? Are there more than 12? Are there more than 14? Okay, so we're at 14. 14 trapped emotions related to your throat still.
Okay.
Yeah, so then, as you know, we just use this emotion code chart, which I can hold up on the screen, but I don't know if you could see. I use this chart to start to identify what those emotions are. And it's okay if you don't have the chart in front of you. It's like we are all connected through quantum physics. So often my clients don't have the chart in front of them. I'm just using the chart to identify the emotions and I say them out loud so they can hear them and confirm if it's correct. So yeah, let's just see what comes up. So I just check
Okay.
first in column A is the first emotion in column A. Is it an odd numbered row? And I get a yes. And then I ask, is it in row one? Is it the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one? So this is showing up as the fourth one, which is lost. So the emotion of lost. And then I ask, is there anything else we need to know in order to release it? And it says no. So then you know the process. You just use a magnet or your hand and just use your intention to release this trapped emotion. Awesome. So that's
Okay.
the first one down. And we just continue really quickly. So the second one, is there another trapped emotion in column A? Is it in an odd numbered row? Is it in row number one, row number three, row number five? Is it the first one in row number five, the second, the third? So that one is fear. And we ask again, is there anything else you need to know in order to release it? And it says no. So you can let that one go. Cool. So we just continue. We just check, is there a third one we can release? Is it in column A? Is it in an odd numbered row? Is it in row number one? Is it the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, or the fifth? So it shows it is love unreceived. We ask, is there anything else we need to know about it? It also says no. We're letting you off easy today. Your subconscious is letting you off easy, I should say.
Yeah, that's great.
Great. And I should say that between each one, I'm also asking if you have released them, but it's always saying yes. So we just keep checking in. Is there another one that we can release? Is it in column A? Is it in an odd numbered row? Not anymore. Is it in row number two? Row number four? No, it wasn't two. Is it the first one? The second one? The third one? The fourth one? This one is nervousness. We can ask, is there more you need to know about nervousness? This one I'm getting a yes. So I will just try to identify the age you were when it became trapped. So we just ask, is it from before you were 20, before you were 10, before you were 5, before you were 3? Nope. So around 4 years old. Is there anything else that we need to know for that one? No. Now you can let it go. So sometimes people will experience a memory when we just identify the age, and that's okay. They can acknowledge it, but they don't have to tell the practitioner. So it's not like therapy. You don't have to say it out loud. You can just acknowledge it in your own mind and let it go, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just check you have released that one. Shall we keep going?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Is there another one that we can release? Is it in column A? Is it in column B? Is it in an odd numbered row? Row number 1, row number 3, row number 5. Is it the first one, the second one, the third one? Okay, that one says terror. Do we need to know anything else about terror in order to release it? No, we do not. You can let it go. Great. All right, you released that one. Is there another one that we can release? Is it in column B? Is it an odd numbered row? Row number 1, row number 3, row number 5 again. Is it the first one in row number 5? Yes. This one is conflict. And we can ask, is there anything else you need to know about it? It says no, so you can let it go. How are you feeling?
Better?
Yeah? Do you need to
Yeah.
shake out? If you need to shake out any energy or drink any water, you can do that. Whenever we do energy therapy, it's really good to drink water because water is a conductor of energy. So the more we drink, the better.
I I drank a lot before the call today.
Cool.
I hope that I don't have to run to the bathroom.
No worries. All right, let's see what else. I think we have maybe 5 more to find. We can check, is there another one that we can release in column B? Is it an odd numbered row? Is it in row number 1? Row number 3? Is it the first one? The second one? The third one? This one is grief. We can ask, is there more you need to know about grief? It says yes. So I ask, is it from before you were 20? Before you were 10? Before you were 5? Nope. Before you were 6, 7, 8, so 9 years old. Is there anything else we need to know about that one? Oh, it's still saying yes. So when you think about grief, do you feel that anywhere in your body, Alejandro?
Maybe in my head.
Hmm. Can just check. Is there anything else you need to know? Yeah, that was all. Now you can let it go. Cool. So release that one. Yes. And we just check, is there another one that you can release? Is it in column B? Is it in an odd numbered row? Is it in row number 2, row number 4, row number 6? Is it the first one, the second one? This one is shame. And we can ask, is there more you need to know about shame? It says yes. Is it from before you were 20, before you were 10, before you were 5? Not before 5, so before you were 7, before you were 8, so 9 years old again. Is there anything else we need to know about shame? This one is also saying yes again. So do you feel that one anywhere in your body?
The stomach.
Stomach. Okay. So now if we ask, is there anything else you need to know? It says no. You can release it. great. Have you released it completely? Yes. All right. Is there another one that you can release? Is it in column B? Is it in an odd numbered row? Row number 1? Row number 3? All right. So this is, oh, is it the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one? This is stubbornness.
Mhm.
Is there anything else you need to know about stubbornness in order to release it? Yes. Is it from before you were 20, before you were 10, before you were 5, before you were 3? Nope. So around 4 years old. This one became trapped. Is there anything else that you need to know? This one's also saying yes. It saved all the tricky ones for last. So, do you feel stubbornness anywhere in your body? I saw you laugh when I said it.
Yeah, because I still feel that sometimes I am very stubborn, but uh, maybe the stomach again. That's what I'm feeling now.
Okay, so we just check again. Is there anything else you need to know? And it says no, so you can let it go. Amazing. All right. Are there any more trapped emotions we can release? Are they in column A? Oh, this one is in A. Is it in an odd numbered row? Row number 1, row number 3, row number 5. Is it the first one in row number 5? This one is blaming. Is there any more we need to know about blaming? Nope. That one you can let go of. And then have you released it? And are there any more that we can release? I wasn't writing anything down today, but it says no. So that means we've probably come to the end of that list. And how are you feeling if you tune into your throat again? If you had to rate it on a scale of 0 to 10, has it shifted at all?
I feel like a three, maybe 2 or 3.
Mhm. Yeah, it's gone down a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes
So
you can get,
so for everybody that is it's like okay, you wanted to have a session with the Kayla. No, what I wanted to share today with what Kayla is doing is how simple is the process. Uh, so there is some questions maybe that we can have, and if anybody is in any social media, you can make any questions also in the chat. But for example, one question could be like, okay, why the intention is enough to find the problem and to fix the problem also?
sorry, Alejandro, I didn't understand. Like, you mean why didn't it fix it completely or?
No, why the intention using because what we did to release the emotions that were trapped, we put the intention like okay, I want to put the intention to fix some throat problems that I am having right now.
Mhm.
So why it's important to decide what is that intention and not only talk about okay, find any trap emotion in any part of the body.
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so I think when we first start, it's nice to give some evidence to our subconscious or to our conscious mind that this works. Our subconscious knows it works, but the conscious mind can be doubtful, right? So if you don't get some results within your first couple of sessions, it's kind of unlikely that you're going to return and keep trying, right? So I think that's why we start with a clear intention. And I like to start with something that you can kind of measure in some way. It's really helpful.
Okay.
However, you don't have to. If you know you're going to do it, you don't have to choose something so specific. But if you just say, I want to generally improve my life, it's really hard to measure that. And when, as humans, if we don't have like a measurable outcome, a lot of times we just don't show up again,
Mm,
right? That's why it's so hard to start like a fitness program because we don't see the results in the first week or 2 weeks. It takes, 6 or 8 weeks to see improvement sometimes. So that's the
mm,
biggest reason. But also, I think it helps the subconscious mind focus because if I had started out and we had like 200 of them show up, it would have been a bit overwhelming, right? And since we focus on something small, 12 feels like, okay, we can deal with 12. I think that's also important.
The other question, why I have to do it like this here, and why the intention is enough to heal uh, that trap emotion.
Mhm. Yeah. So this line from the well, it starts at the base of your spine and goes up around your head to the inside of your upper lip. So that's the governing meridian of the body through Eastern medicine. So this has been studied for like thousands of years, I think over 3,000 years. And this process is just using the governing meridian because it connects to all the other body meridians and it makes it really simple. If we were in the same room and I could run this really cool magnet down your whole spine and you might even feel more of the release that way. But since we're doing it virtually, it's very easy for you to reach this part of the governing meridian yourself. And that just makes it accessible for self healing. And the magnet is really just to magnify your intention. I think one of the most important things that people should know from the emotion code is that we are all our own best healers. We all have the capacity to heal ourselves if we just have that intention and we have the belief in it. It's often our society has kind of programmed us to believe that we need medical intervention, but those medical interventions are often only treating the symptoms. And if we just find the root cause, which can be an energy or an emotion, and we have the intention to let it go, often that can be super effective and free us from a lot of different things. Like maybe we were working on your throat, but you notice like, oh, I've actually had this pain in my elbows that went away. Or
Mm.
it can really be interesting rather than having negative side effects like with medication. We have like these positive side effects that show up. It's like, oh, I wasn't expecting to heal that. Where did that go? So not saying we should stop Western medicine or conventional medicine, but this is used very, very well alongside it as well. So it doesn't have to be either or. They can go hand in hand.
And you are talking about using a magnet to increase the power of that. You use any magnet and you use it in any polarity, or it's something specific?
Yeah, so if you want to know more about like specific magnetic healing, there's a lot of science behind which polarities you use for
Okay.
what, so I won't dive into that. But for the emotion code, it really doesn't matter. You can use the most expensive magnets on the market, or you can just grab a magnet off your fridge that you picked up on a holiday and use that. It really, or you can just use your hand, which is what I often do because we are magnetic people. We have a magnetic field around our body, so that also works.
Awesome. So I hope that we wanted to give this experience to everybody that was listening today. Start to experience like, okay, there is other things that can be affecting your body and can be affecting everything that is happening in your body. Sometimes it's like, okay, I don't understand why no medicine is working, or I don't understand why I have to be taking this medicine for a long time and I have to keep taking that for years. So maybe it can be this is another solution. It can be an emotion that is trapped, and and you saw how simple it is to start to find what is the problem and start to release that emotion. And really, it's really powerful. What you saw, it's like I didn't invent from 1 to 10 how I was feeling. Like I was feeling a 5, and I ended up between 2 and 3. So it's that simple and that quick to start to see the results. Uh, Kayla, how people can connect with you, how they can know more about you, if somebody wants to test this and try it by themselves, how that works.
Absolutely. So if you just want to try this out on your own, you can just type in the emotion code to Google, and the Discover Healing is the name of the company that runs it. And they have some free resources you can sign up to receive. You can also buy the book, The Emotion Code, and use that. I used that for nearly 10 years without being certified for myself and friends and had amazing results. And then if you would like to experience a session with me, you can go to my website. It's just my name, kayladhankhar.com. I think I'm the only Kayla Dhankhar in the world, so it's not hard to find me. Um, and yeah, you can book a free session. My first sessions are always free, and I give everyone an experience just like the one Alejandro had today. And even if you just want to do that before you started on your own, I have no problems meeting people and sharing this knowledge because I feel like, well, I wish it was something we all learned in school. Like, how cool would it be if we just could release our baggage throughout our whole life? So, the more people who find out about it, the better. You can also find practitioners in your own area. There's, I don't know how many tens of thousands trained practitioners if you want to meet somebody in person as well. And there's also a next level. So if you find this fascinating and you get into it, there's a whole nother level called the body code, which is just like, yeah, we could have 10 sessions on that. So I won't start into that, but just know that the resources are out there, that you can get the answers you're looking for and find the relief that you need. And yeah, I would love to connect with you if you are feeling the call to just connect for a call.
Awesome, Kayla. I really enjoyed today because really I believe this is something that is really missing in the world. Understand this emotion and how emotions can be helping us or affecting us in different areas. And the good thing, I know that right now in the last months maybe, and I can say even a couple of years, that AI has been like exploding everywhere and creating a lot of things that people is like, oh, I don't know how you don't need to be a person anymore because a lot of AI companies can do all the things for you. But really, you can see that we are limitless, but sometimes we are limited by our own uh, emotions and things that we are carrying from the past and understanding. Like today I released 12 emotions. Understanding that can start to help us to connect better with the world, connect better with other people, connect better with everything that is happening around us, and make a change in the world. And that is something that no AI can do for you. This is something that you have to do for yourself or look for somebody that can help you with that. Kayla, do you have any last comment that you want to give to the audience today, that maybe they are listening live today or later in any of our social media?
I guess just that you are your own greatest healer. So if something is in your way, you might just look in the mirror and see if there's a way you would like to change what you're experiencing and what you're tolerating.
Hmm. I love that, Kayla, and really thank you for today. Thank you for the program. It was awesome, and I believe, like we were talking before the session today, we can be planning in the near future something to continue talking about this, if there is some interest in the people that is listening. But I find it really fascinating. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So, thank you all. Thank you for listening today. We are going to continue growing with the believe in yourself, believe in your business. Everything starts with a belief, and even these emotions that maybe are trapped or not, start with the belief that you have in yourself, and that you can heal yourself and you can heal everything that is happening to your body and everything that is happening around you. So, this show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you all. See you next week.